the kinds of things that I'm particularly concerned about, I have to go, and it's kind of a deep dive for me. I think the thing that probably is most important is to get a psychological refit. And this is something I've been able to do because I've been able to age in a positive way in a society that I feel I belong to. It's like, how do we get away from doing the separations that are not needed? We have a separation between humans, the human species, and the planet. We have a separation between the human species and all of the other species on the planet because it's the way in a sense, we've been indoctrinated. That's the way we frame our view. So it's so easy to say, well, okay, those people look like they belong to a different race. They're different. Somebody who I had an argument with, they're not me. They're not like me. They're not, I have nothing in common with them. That's where some of the things stop and where they stay broken. It's only until you realize, okay, that person that I felt has offended me, that, okay, I know we have this common humanity. And even if we can't talk to each other for the time being, or maybe ever, I know that person is still suffering, that person still loves, that person still has their own system of generosity, and I'm just going to let it happen. I do not have to be the one to fix it. I'm just going to be there for people. And that's sort of like a messianic kind of view of the world. But to be honest, I think that's what we need. There are some things about there's quite a lot that is available now on the effects of social isolation and loneliness. So they're not the same thing, but there is much more awareness now, and for the last decade it's been growing. So there are governments who are now doing things and saying, okay, this is definitely an issue. We will do some things to sort of help these things happen. Now, they seem to me to be under-resourced, poorly organized, or not. They don't have enough resources to stay organized properly. They're having difficulty expanding some of the things. Mostly it's trying to create awareness about social isolation. Yes, that's probably where I'm at as well. Just trying to increase the awareness of the effects. But the effects are measurable and real. And they tie into, to my way of looking at it, at least this is my view, as we reduce the social capital in our communities, we have these other needs that don't get answered. So then are we going to wait until a government or somebody outside of us comes up with a solution? It isn't always going to work. It's not always going to mesh. I think that one of the things I think that would be fairly easy, that's attainable, something that's attainable, would be developing a sense of a common project for the residents that we have in our community. Not everybody has to participate, but the idea that we're building something better that's more consistent with human needs and values. And there's lots of activities that we could do, and QS is definitely one of the players in doing that. So that's exciting, really exciting to see. Trying to do the projects that bring people together. Like, I haven't seen people who can't get along outside of the workplace, but they get together, they do a job, and when they're in the job doing the team work, other things vanish. So you don't go for a beer afterwards, but you can, when you're in the space, when you're in the zone, I think people know, it's a common phrase, when you're in the zone, doing the job, you're working as one. And I think that can be used for cues, and that's what cues tends to try and do, at least. Getting people to work together, a lot of the other things change. And then you've got some better place to build. Because I know that I can trust the people that I know at cues. I implicitly trust them. And wow, is that a big payoff for me. if there's anything I'd be cautious about is any impression that some of the ideas are actually real, like they're actually really happening, because they're only ideas being discussed at this point in the collaboration. That could be seen as misleading or non-productive. That's the only thing that I have a concern about, is that misinterpreting some of this airy-fairy stuff that I've talked about as being, oh God, there's a movement on the way here, and they're going to take us over. I don't want that to happen. But anyway, I think you're aware of that.